I'm going to try and ask you to take a look at your business from my eyes. I'm looking at this as your client. I know how people are thinking in this pandemic world. And this is a very critical part to understand that we as individuals, whether we are aware or unaware, we have actually changed in our heads, in our behavior over the last 1 year. One of the things we have to realize today is this exact activity that we are doing right now. What are we doing? In place of being in a nice little conference or somebody's office in person, we are at our respective places miles away, talking and interacting on one learning. And this has one word. It's called social. Please remember that bit when it comes to the marketing aspect of your business. This presentation, this talk is going to help you get three distinct frameworks, and I'll come to it. Those frameworks you can use. It's really simple and you can use it in your own way. It's not a scientific formula to actually grow your business. The one caveat, and the one caveat only on this, is using the framework requires consistency, which actually drills down to 90 minutes and a max of 2 hours per day, 7 days of the week, over a span of 3 to 4 months before you actually see leads materializing and converting. So I'm gonna start with why is my some of these, as I go through my slide build, please take a moment to read. I'm gonna pause because I want you to read these questions. These are important, and I'm going to give you the commonality. These are 4 very simple questions. And I'm starting it off with the questions because I'd love you to just drop a yes or no. Yes 1, no 2, yes 3, like that. Just drop it in the chat box because I'd like to know, are you facing these? Come from the aspect of trying to actually find clients to coach, to fill up your pipeline. Are any of these, looking familiar? And I'm going to pick them up from the chat when we're doing the Q&A and come back to it. Now, the reason I brought this up is very simple. This is the reason. And here's where you and I, you as a coach and I as a consultant, have one commonality. And the commonality is this blind spot. And the blind spot is not external. It's actually us. Just like those of us who are coaching on mindsets and attitudes and everything, we say we have limiting beliefs. I'd like you, ladies and gentlemen, to consider that if we are not progressing in our marketing, it's only because we are the bottleneck in our business. And I'll share an example from you. When Leon and Irene asked me end of last year to do this talk, I was literally going through this scenario. I was at a point in time where my pipeline, and I've just put out content on LinkedIn today about it, my pipeline was worse than the Sahara Desert. And do you know how scary that is? That is scary. That is scary because you're looking at no cash flow in a span of 14 to 21 days. That we all have bills. Let's be very basic here. It's very scary. So please consider the commonality that we have when we face those 4 areas of problems that I highlighted, is that sometimes we are not approaching it the right way. Now, this is where the solution in social comes about. We are social creatures as human beings. Use that to your benefit. Just look at Peter. You and I just connected. I picked up the word Koda Kinabalu. Suddenly had an affinity. Hey, that's a brethren. He's on East Malaysia. I'm in West Malaysia. We spoke. That is the social aspect that creates the connectivity. That is social selling. And today, ladies and gentlemen, That is the only bullet, if I may use that word, that's going to really grow your business. Caveat. I'm sure all of us have heard the joke about, or heard the saying about the bamboo tree. When you plant a bamboo tree, it does not grow overnight. It does not grow in a week. It does not even grow in a year. We know it takes 7 years, if I'm not mistaken, for a proper bamboo harvest forest area to grow. Social selling, if you're looking at an antibiotic pill to get your fever down in 5 hours, it ain't that. It just ain't. This is good old-fashioned rubber on the road, hard work. But I can assure you, and I've done this for years, across brands and across industries, I can assure you, 90 to 120 days, 3 months to 4 months of diligent development work, you will see the returns in a span of 1 financial year. 6 months, 5 months after that 3-month, 4-month period, well done consistently, you will see your pipeline taking over to a point where you will have to hire a virtual assistant or a remote team in today's circumstances to manage your social media, which is actually good. Now, let's set the stage. Social media is not social media. Social selling is not social media marketing. It's not, some fancy technology, automation, and all of that. It's got a lot of psychology. It's got a lot of linguistic understanding and the psychology, the behavioral part of psychology that comes in. It's all about using social media to find, connect, and understand your prospect. Those words in orange are purposely put in orange, not that because they're my house colors, but because those are the keys. You have to find these people. You need data. You have to connect with these people. You need time and content. You've got to understand these people. That means you've got to have a conversation. And then you've got to nurture, which means you've got to engage with them before these people become your sales prospect. If you just simply send somebody a brochure, and all of us are on social media, I think one of the biggest cheese off is, hey, Leon, hi, hello, how are you? What are you doing? I'm a marketing consultant. Boom, here's a PDF. I'd love to do your social media marketing. Leon's just going to hit the delete button even before he's read the first, hi, Leon, I'm a marketing consultant. Boom, delete.
Yeah,
out.
Spam.
Exactly. So this is the social area, because hard sell or sales the way we knew it, I would say up to 2019, doesn't work. And I've had this argument, I'll use the word argument because I still argue with some leading sales trainers out of Singapore, in fact, who are training salespeople. And I've done work with them to talk about conversations. How do you get into conversation? Don't look at the commission, don't look at the numbers, start a conversation. Second, and this is very key in today's day and age, whether we like it or not, whether we call it the new normal or whatever we want to call it, life, the way we have led for the last 1 year, is the way life will be going forward. You're going to have hybrid versions of it. You're going to have 3 days at work, 2 days offline, whatever. But the digital way is going to be the new normal. You have to build your relationship deeply on digital. And by the time you go to meet for that first cup of coffee, or you walk into somebody's office to have a handshake, the deal's done. Actually, it's done. It's just that last minute in person. Do I really like your body language in person? Because on the screen, my body language is just this much. I'm hamstrung because I'm a person who's I love mobility while talking. So that's what's going to come to stay. And this is what social selling is. It's finding, connecting, understanding, nurturing a relationship, a contact, then growing it using the digital medium. And in this digital medium, you have a plethora. You have your social media, you have your website, you have your WhatsApps and Telegrams and Signals, and you name it. You even have YouTube, whatnot you want to use. You got to be very focused. Let's get down to brass tacks. How do we do this? There are 3 legs on which this is going to be built. All right. And chances are you're already doing it, because I'm sure if I take a poll right now, all of us here, we are 16 people. So 15 of us are going to have a Facebook page. Can I just have a show of hands quickly or something? Yeah. Okay, at a very bare minimum, most of us have one social media account and upwards to about 3 social media accounts. So you're already, whether you like it intentionally or unintentionally, you have actually been communicating your personal brand. The moment you're on a digital media and whatever you say or do is creating a perception of your personal brand. So that's the first most important foundational step in getting social selling going. Build your personal brand, because it's you and your personal brand that's going to create engagement. There is a format, there is a flow, there is a way. I'll share it, but that's the stage 2. And then the stage 3 comes when you've got a personal brand that's talking and engaging and nurturing. You attract. You're actually sending out the right keywords, creating an energy, positive feeling that makes Joy say, I want to connect with Jeff. I want to talk to Leon. I want to speak to Irene. I want to do work with Peter. It pulls. Now here's where marketing from the bygone era and current marketing changes. Bygone era was push. I have messages. I'm the producer. I send you a message after message and I bombard you. You have to see it 7 times, you'll buy me. I'm sorry, it's been disproved. It's gone. You flip the magnet first, and then you make sure that the north and south line up so that you pull. Now, mind you, we exert more energy when we pull. We have to have enough strength to pull, and that strength comes from your personal brand. How do we get to building a very strong personal brand? All right. There are three aspects of it. Aspect number 2 and 3 will cover point number 2 and 3 of the social selling pillars. The first, in personal brand, you've got to have a content strategy. And I'll explain in the following slides what I mean by that. That strategy is going to be used to create engagement for you. And that engagement is going to attract the leads. Always remember, as I said, it's pull. You're pulling. Every input that you're going to give is meant to attract. So imagine if the metaphor is correct, and ladies, with all due respects, it's your first date. You've decided you're going to meet the guy, and the guy's decided I'm going to meet this girl, and you're going out for your first date. Think back of the electricity, the anticipation, and everything that happens in that first date, and that first impression when you pick her up, or you'll meet in that venue where you're going to have a dinner, or whatever the date time is, even if it's a movie. There's something called attraction, and that becomes the most key part, which you nurture by creating the engagement through the right strategy. Why? My favorite quote, I had to share this from Mr. Tom Peters. Before you are coaches, you are you. You're an individual and a unique individual. And your sole responsibility as an individual is to be the CEO of you. Me Private Limited, me PTE, me Incorporated, wherever we want to look at it from. If you lead yourself strategically and intentionally, your personal brand will reflect that in everything that you do. My methodology, sorry, I'm a Brit of Indian origin, so I have a bit of Scottish affinity, and the acronym is, of course, the Scottish Kilt. But these are the 4 pillars, foundations on which your personal brand home stands. These are the pillars on which you build the roof of you as a brand that's projected out. Leg 1. If people don't know you and what you do and who you are and what's of value to you, nobody's bothered. But if people start knowing what's your interest and do you have, an ambition, I'll use that word in place of, I've written dream, but I'll use the word ambition. Even it could be that I want to have an organization of 1,000 coaches doing X, and that X is a societal community purpose. That's great, because it will resonate in the 3 odd billion, 4 odd billion people on the internet in this whole wide world, it will resonate with a handful. And trust me, in our individual businesses, we want a handful because we won't be able to manage scaling up to deliver to 30, 40 clients at a shot. Knowing you is where it all starts. Very important. The second step is you've got to get them interested in you. So if you're in a subway and you stand quietly like everybody else, you're just one of the crowd. But if we've all seen this YouTube video, I think, about a guy in the London Underground gets up and takes out his iPad and is watching a video and starts laughing uncontrollably. I don't know if y'all have seen it. And then the laughter becomes contagious and people are laughing for no reason because he's laughing. But all you're doing, that's a mechanism of communication, humor or laughter or an action. You've got to communicate. When you communicate your interest, your work consistently, people start picking up and noticing. And you can do the short exercise over the rest of the week or even the weekend. Just shoot out on any of your social medias 2 pieces of posts or 2 pieces of content, one in the morning, one in the evening. Just do it over Saturday, Sunday, and just see the results on Monday evening or of those Saturday, Sunday 4 posts. You just might find in place of having 10 comments or 10 reactions, your number might be at 15 or might be at 20. You just suddenly stepped out into your network and network is noticing. Very important. The third leg. I know you. I like what you're interested in. But you know what? I've really got to like Leon. I've really got to like Jeff, or I've got to like Irene, or I've got to like Vijay. Without liking, and liking is a chemical scenario happening here for those of you who are well versed in the neurology side of it. It's an auto couple of seconds kind of a thing. I like what I'm reading. And this is where words have power. The right active, positive, verb related words. Let me give you an example. If you can replace using the word but with the word yet. It's not a verb, it's not a this thing. But what happens in this is, a but is like demeaning the appreciation or the statement preceding the word but. Whereas yet is reaching out. It's like, I like this, yet we could do it that way. Which means I like my thought, but what you've suggested could be a way forward. And the other person feels emotionally gratified, appreciated. So liking is created through this nuance of the right picture and the right words. And this is the case where that line, less is more, becomes very important. As consultants and coaches, we love to really pontificate out, really string it out, write a lot and do. In social communication, the shorter, the crisper you are, the more sharper your message is. Why? Data again says, globally, we have now reached a point of our attention being on one item for 6 to 8 seconds. Please try and read what you can in 6 to 8 seconds. I think you'd probably get about 4 words at a very fast speed. Comprehensible. The eye skims through very fast. We do speed reading. But all of these little inputs are what helps to make your prospect gravitate towards you by liking you. And the last step, without this, nothing will happen. I know you. I'm interested in you. I'm liking what you're talking to me. I want to trust. I want to get that trust built. Remember what I said. You're building meaningful relationships digitally. When you go for that in person, or you're actually landing up on that sales call. Yep, I'm ready for you. I'm going to spend that and take your program, take the coaching, whatever your prices are. $500, $5,000, $50,000, Tony Robbins to whoever, doesn't matter. Your pricings are all good. It's that trust because it's been built up. And this 4 legs is why it takes that 3 to 4 months of consistent work. This is the framework of you, your personal brand. It could be in your name. It could be in your company's name. Like Humanizing Business is actually Joy Abdullah. But Humanizing Business does not have any content. Joy Abdullah has content. When Joy Abdullah stands and talks and the brand of Joy is communicating, it's represented also by the logo of humanizing business. That's my business. I do it through marketing. I don't do it through HR avenues. So this framework is what grows your personal brand. Now, each of these legs have an impact. When you communicate about getting to know you, you are communicating who you are. And I'm not communicating who you are as a professional. I don't want to know the credentials you have. I want to know the human being behind your name. I want to know what's your values. I want to know what do you believe in terms of leadership, in terms of, societal leadership, your own leadership, family leadership. These are 3 areas. There are roughly about 8 interest areas that human beings really like to focus on, of which these are the 3 that are now in the last 1 year coming up person to person. I really want to know the guy, the human being behind. What it impacts is this. Each of us have a story. You've got to share your story. First and foremost, there's a stage before this. You yourself have to accept your story. I've got diversity. I've got trauma. I've got fears. Yet, I accept my vulnerability. I find my courage. I write my story and I share my story to say, if you're quiet, here's somebody who's talking. Feel free to share because you get more help. So all of us have to own our story. And it's very important to own the story because then you don't need cue sheets. You don't need, prompters. What you do in person and what you do online is the same. Your real life and your real life. Digital is real, R-E-E-L, is real life. Becomes one and the same. And this will impact later in something called the work-life balance and stuff like that. But you have to own your story and then you've got to communicate your story. Now, not all details, not all facets. So for example, I've communicated my story of transitioning from a 3 years of corporate executive to being an entrepreneur, doing 3 different ventures in the service area. I've communicated that story, my trials, tribulations, fears, and I live with them even now. I accept them and I share them because I want to give voice and support to people who feel they can't do it. That giving voice becomes your message. You stand for something. What are you saying? I'm standing for, I'd like to give you a bit of joy from not just the joy, the fulfillment and the happiness aspect, but I want to give you joy from your self-value, self-worth perspective. Now, I work in marketing consulting. I help people do their marketing, their social media. How does that connect to giving joy? When you do something very well, you feel proud of your own achievement. When you feel proud of your own achievement, you want to tell the world about it. Boom, you've got a story. It's your message. And the last bit is your voice. Each one of us have been blessed with different fingerprints, different irises, and also very different voice tonalities and accents. Use it, magnify it, and then whether we do video or audio or whichever way, use it, whatever you're comfortable. But in the first leg, to build who you are, to get people to know you, these are the 3 angles that craft who you are. Your own story, what's your message from there, and your voice. And all of this ties back to what you communicate on social and bring people to you. I'm going to stop here for a minute whenever you guys are ready, because I want to do this quick exercise which will help you all going forward. Just take a couple of minutes, a minute, whatever time required, and let us know. Jot down jot down 2 adjectives, 2 words that describe your interest, your passion, and your expertise in layman's terms. Imagine you're talking to me or somebody who does not understand deep coaching like Leon does. I don't. So I'm going to ask, just put it down in layman's terms. Are you going to take my brain and put it out somewhere and give me a new brain or something? Just put your interest, put your passion, put your expertise down. I'm going to stop here. When we're ready, just put up your hands or something. I'm watching the screen and we'll take it from there. You don't need to write it in the chat box. I just want you to hold those two words under interest, passion, and expertise with you. You'll need it. You'll understand why you'll need it in the next slide itself. And when we are ready, just let me know, because we'll continue to complete it in the next slide. Just keep it. It's not sentences, by the way, please. I know, not necessary. You just need interest, 1 or 2 words. Passion, 1 or 2 words. Expertise, 1 or 2 words. Right. Can I move on and complete this to just help you all?
Yes, move on. Great.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's do this now. Take note. Is your interest that you just wrote down, is this connected to a passion that you've had? Just take note. We don't need yes, no answers in here. This is for yourself, your own learning, please. Is that interest reflecting in the work that you do? Example, I actually wanted to be a fine arts graduate and go into painting. But my parental pressures made me go and do mechanical engineering. And today I am a senior vice president in an automotive firm in the engineering unit. There's a difference here. I'm living because I need to earn a paycheck, but I'm not living my passion or my life. Is it reflecting in the work that you do? Please consider. Which impacts the actions, the way you are interacting with people 24/7 in every piece of communication that you're doing, be it your email, be it your proposals, be it in your coaching delivery. You follow a methodology, but what we are from within always comes through. As coaches, those who do life coaching, etc., you would agree that our unconscious sometimes does come through and play out there. Ask yourself, is my interest aligned? Is it reflecting? Am I showing it in my work? If yes, great. If no, no harm done. We've all gone through it. I only learned this 5-6 years ago, honestly, and I brought it to my work. Why? Simply because you're creating a perception about yourself without being in control of that perception that you want to create. I repeat, the reason I'm asking these questions is because when your interests and passions are not reflecting in your actions and communications and behavior, the perception your personal brand, your name, reputation is creating is not something you are controlling. It's being controlled from outside. Best way I can explain it is fake news versus facts. Unfortunately, fake news is fake news, but facts is truth. So the reason I highlighted this to look at those 3 areas, jot it down, is to ask yourselves these questions, put it down to say yes, no, because the next stage in the frameworks will help you do this. What personal brand involves? Why I get called, like Leon mentioned at the very opening. There's a purpose with which I approach every interaction. In a layman's term, the purpose is, can I be of help to somebody? Can I give a bit of joy? Joy, not how I perceive joy, because joy is my name, but joy how you perceive joy to be. It flips. I'm looking at it from your eyes as best as I can. But for me to be able to communicate with you, I communicate what's my interest. How does it reflect in my work? I do that 24/7. And I engage and engage and engage. And it's like a tea strainer. You put in the tea leaves, you pour the hot water. As you strain it out, there are few small tea leaves, pieces, which will strain into your cup. We don't grudge those when we drink the tea. We love the flavor of the tea, the robustness of it. and then we throw the tea leaves out. But that's exactly how personal brand works. When you communicate from your interest, your passion, who you are, you're sieving through the noise and the clutter on social media, and you actually attract the people who resonate with your bandwidth. Let's not get out of our bandwidth. Let's stay on our track. So if I'm a NASCAR driver, I'll drive NASCAR. I might not be very good on an F1 circuit. On the other hand, I'm damn good on F1. I might not be very good on NASCAR. I can't do 50 laps or 100 laps or whatever is required. So each to his own course. The more niche you are, the better it is, because you get deeper into the segment, deeper into your prospect. Here we start. Section 1, personal brand. Here's the framework. This is the theoretical framework, comes from Maslow's hierarchy of needs, to be very honest. It's basically meaning, makeup, and message. Meaning, I've just covered your purpose, values, and goals, and then your makeup is your intellectual and the communication areas, and then you communicate that as your message. Now, what happens actually? This framework is very important. When you need to have your meaning, makeup, and message broken into how you create your content. I've already covered a bit, and I've said this. Your story. There's one part of you the person, your personal story. You need to own it and share it. The second part is your interest and how does it align to your work. Your second pillar. This is your core message. This is the message that you actually want to be really, really careful and critical about, because this is the message which is your driver. This is taking the bus to your prospect to pick up the prospect and go ka-ching. I'm being very honest here. This is where rubber really hits the road. Communicate your interest as your core message, how it aligns to your work. However, if you don't do stage 1, you're not sharing your story, people will see through to say there's a disconnect. I don't know anything who Joy is. Who's he? What's he from the background? Yeah, I know he's marketing, but why is he talking about social selling when he's in marketing? Because social selling is done by social media people. That's the perception outside. So you've got to bring the person around to see, this is my bus, this is my driver, this is why I'm doing it. Would you like a ride? Boom. The third one is the answer to would you like my ride? Express it in your own way. Ladies and gentlemen, this is something I don't know how to say this correctly, but we all run away from talking on social media on video or audio. I don't speak English very well. I don't look very good in my videos. My videos are not edited. All of it is absolute utter BS. You can take a video on your smartphone sitting, or on your Zoom, sitting exactly where you're sitting. Talk. Doesn't matter if you're talking for 5 minutes or 1 minute. Yes, attention span is 6 seconds. The only thing I'm going to ask you is your opening sentence. Make that what is called a killer sentence. Remember how I started the presentation? 4 problem areas, and I looked through the chat quickly to see most of you said, yes, I have between 1, 2, and 3, I have those problems. Highlight the pain that you believe your prospect is happening. Now, if you don't have data, ask your clients that you work with, when they came to you, why did you come to me? And what problem did I solve for you? If you don't have the answer to it. That piece of information is very, very important to do this point number 2 in content creation. That first opening message that says, are you in a brain freeze? Is digital getting to be overwhelming? Don't get anxious. Here's what you can do. 3 tips. And you give your tips, your word. Say it on video, write it out, do a picture, express it in your own voice. These are the fundamental 3 legs of content creation in communicating your brand for people to know you, to like you, and to get interested in you. Personal brand, 4 steps. First 3 steps are dependent on these 3 roads. And this is where you take a little bit of planning. Leon, when we started, you remember you said, whoa, 90 minutes, Joy, can you crash it to 8 minutes? When you find somebody who can crash it to, I'd say even 15 minutes a day, let me know. I'd love to have a lesson from him, because it takes a bit of time to go through your own self and plan your content. I have a content calendar of 30 days rolling. I write content 3 days in advance to communicate for my business. 3 days, I can't do it more because I use 3 days in advance to help me prepare for the next 3 days. But that's me. Each one of us will come to a cycle, but you've got to spend time to build it up. And this is where that first 90 to 100 days, 120 days that I'm talking about, the 3-4 months, your first couple of weeks will go just mapping what you're going to do. You're planning. Even 7 days, 5 days, what are you going to do? Then you're going to get down to doing it. Writing the content, shooting the video, editing the pictures. And for those of you who can, go out and get an agency to do it, warning. Yes, you can pay the money, but you need to be the owner and driver of your strategy and what you want your post to say. You've got to give them keywords. You've got to give them point number 2, the core communication message of your interest and your work. You've got to give them that. Now, you've got your content, it's ready, you've arranged it in that structure. That's great. Remember, I asked, are we all on one Facebook or do we have a minimum of 2 or 3? This is where your content distribution becomes key. And as a group, and this is my request to each one of you, because y'all are here, you're part of APAC, y'all can leverage off each other in terms of co-share, cross-share. So, for example, Irene and I can do a quick 30-minute video call on Zoom. Irene can just edit out 5 minutes out of that, and we agree from before this is going to be the 5 minutes. We hit the record button, we record a question and an answer, and we're gone. And Irene posts it out in her role under APAC of what APAC is doing. It's collaborative together, but the value goes back to Joy and to Irene and to the institution APAC. Simple. You see, one piece, 3 benefits. Second, cross-share. So Irene posts, Leon gives a comment and a reshare, or takes it from Media A, LinkedIn, and puts it out on maybe Twitter or Facebook. Or Irene's done it on Facebook, somebody does a page screen grab and puts it out on Instagram. No harm, you just add one line. But people know, hey, they're all part of the Asia Pacific Alliance of Coaches. Makes sense. They're talking about X and Y. That's their work and their interest. Now, somebody who's going to be interested in learning to become a coach, or I need that service, or a company that wants to run a program in whichever way, is going to reach out. They might reach out to APAC, they might reach out to you, might reach out to Irene. But that's where your distribution actually starts playing. Very effective. So first, please select your primary channel. At this stage, when you're going to start, my strong recommendation always, even to my business clients always, is take one channel and dominate for the first 4 months. Don't spread yourself, especially when we are doing it individually. Don't spread yourselves all over. I'm Cat's Whiskers, and I say so myself as a humble brag on LinkedIn. I'm absolutely horrendous on Twitter, and even worse on Instagram. Let me give you an example. Please feel free, connect with me, join me on LinkedIn, and that's my own social page. You'll find I've got 60 over 1,000 community. You go to Twitter, that becomes somewhere like 4,000-5,000. You go to my Instagram, I'm in triple digits. I think I'm at 200, 300 people. You see the difference? Because I have consistently focused on LinkedIn as a primary channel for the last 2 years. That's my lead driver. So select your primary channel, please. Plan your content strategy and your frequency. This is very important so that you don't waste your valuable time in the communication part. Your time is your expertise and delivering and getting the fees paid. As I said, focus on one for the first 90 days and follow a 1-to-4 ratio. What I mean by 1-to-4 is there should be 3 personal story posts. And personal stories, I've given you the 3 legs. Your story, your interest, alignment to your work, and what is your give, your experience that is giving an insight or a learning. These are your 3 personal posts. 1 post in that 4 is going to be all about the work that you do, the client that you handle, the benefit that they've received. And this could come, like I said, Irene and I sit down and we do a 5-minute pitch, we do a post, or you take a snapshot out of somebody's client or your testimonial and you put it out, right? This is testimonial post, social proof post, something to do with your work, your process. That's it. 1 out of every 4, which means if you're posting continuously for 7 days, every 4 days there's 1 work post. And I can tell you, your inquiries will actually come from your other 3 posts, not from your work post. Your work post will have the lowest connectivity to start with. But 90 days, 100 days later, you'll find that all of them are coming out more or less simple. You'll be able to pick up content threads, which one is more important. Consistency. Please don't do this once a week. Don't even start if you want to do it only once a week. Please don't do it only on the weekends. Don't get started if you want to do it. If you're not doing it for the full week, i.e. a minimum of 4 times upwards, don't start it. If you're going to do it, commit yourself to doing this for 4 months consistently, 4 to 5 times a week. Plan it out. Give it a shot. Come back to me. I will guarantee if you do and you put it out, I'm telling you, you will see your inquiries on your website increasing. Now, stage 2. People know you. They found your personal brand and you're starting to build trust. This is where engagement comes in. And you've got to be very careful. This is our side. You've got to know the people you want to buy from you. Do you know your ideal customer? Not who you've already coached and who you this thing. Do you know who you're prospecting to? Prospects are very different from customers. Prospects are people sitting on the fence, not in the vicinity. So you got to know who, and that will come out through the conversations that you do in your posts. But remember something, when your post gives you a very high number of engagement and reactions, fans are somebody who likes your content, but they're not necessarily your leads. And everybody who's in contact with your brand is not a lead. The lead that you categorize as a lead is when somebody pings you in your inbox, in your email, in the contact us on your website, with a willingness to say, I want more information, or books your 20 minutes, 30 minutes discovery call session. That person is whom you should start handling like it's made out of is diamond. I'm going to start polishing this little uncut person to become my customer. That's the lead. Please keep this in mind. Again, I brought up this quote for Richard Branson to highlight one key point. Going into social, you've got to have a strategy what you're using it for. And in this case, you're using it for your coaching business. Having a social media presence is just, by the way, you have a car and you change a car every 5 years. But if you're a passionate car buff, chances are you're going to have a couple of different types of vintage cars as a car buff. So look at your business from a business perspective, not from that technical expertise of being a fantastic coach. A business needs to establish itself to be known for what it stands for, what value it gives. And social media is where the presence, you build your social presence. Look at it from your business perspective. The driver of the social presence is you, your personal brand. So we're going to spend just a minute on building your social presence, which starts with you. Remember the me incorporated, me private limited. You're the hero. You're not a side player. You're not a side actor. You are in the spotlight. What you do, how you do it, what you say makes a whole world of difference to the prospect or the customer that you attract or do not attract. A high degree of positive social interaction engagements is a must-have, and social presence to attract leads. Now you'll understand why in the previous slide I said 4 to 5 times a week. That's the frequency. If you look at some data as to the number of content generated literally in the minute on a social media channel, you'll get so scared you'll run away. Let me give you let me put it in perspective. LinkedIn has 700 million users globally. 350 million, 360 million, half that number are active. By active, it means they visit this platform 3 to 4 times a week. Out of that, 100 million people are on it daily, posting content. 100 million. When I sit down and I look for my business, I say, wow, my universe is 100 million. But actually my universe is not 100 million. My universe comes down to something like 10,000 because I'm looking at service businesses in the B2B sector, specific niche. But have that in perspective. There's a lot of leads that come in.
Joy, I'm just going to step in here for a minute there, just keeping an eye on the time.
Yeah, I'm wrapping up.
Okay, great. Just want to know where you are and things. I'm sure that,
sorry,
like me,
my talk went over my slides a bit. I'm nearly done. Nearly done.
Great.
So higher the visibility, more the familiarity. That's what's required. Now, doing this, be consistent and true to yourself. Be original. How do you create it? Just a recap. Your social presence comes from your core values, your interests, which has to be aligned to your work, because that's the solution that you're offering. Revisit, put it together. Value plus interest is the solution. When you're writing content, please keep the perspective, as I said, who are you prospecting from? Not what you want to say. What do they need? Understand what is their values. How can you connect? Showcase your interest, because that's the antenna. It'll resonate with your prospects. And show, this is the one workforce that I mentioned about, show how your solution works. Either through video testimonials or in some form and manner, show the results. Last stage. So you've got engagement, you've got inquiries coming in. How do you identify this lead is going to become a customer? Two simple ways. There's a reactive way and a proactive way. The reactive is prospects are reacting to your social content, asking you for information. They're reacting, you're supplying them. But proactive is those conversations when you're having in that reactive session, you know exactly, you'll get a feel. If I give this, I'm having this customer in. And that's the call that you take in the moment. 2 steps. How do you convert? Understand the client's problem you're solving, your customer's problem, not the solution you offer, but what is it that they want solved? And all of this requires you to drop into 30-minute, 45-minute conversation. And this is another area where time goes, or you can guide them to your website to get the information. You need to zone in. Once you've had that confirmation, zone in on what do they want? What are their hopes? What issue are they facing? Customize your message to them. Even in the email, be very, very particular and crisp as to how you're solving what they want, or how are you giving something that they're looking out for. And by the way, if you have a portfolio of your coaching practices, bring it down for this exercise. Start with making one core promotion, one particular one that you want to do. One-on-one coaching, group coaching, and particular discipline. Focus on one, communicate that all the way through. Everything else stays on the website. They can come and see you've got 5 different products. 3 reasons why you need to make social as part of your marketing. The third one is the most important. Your customers, people like me, professionals out there, 91% of us are already actually into social buying. Digital shopping, online shopping, heard it? That's social buying. 1 and 2 is doing this exercise once gets you into a habit where you make sustainability because you keep populating your pipeline. And the last is referrals start occurring once you've hit a certain mass. You get about 150 people talking to you, you'll get referrals working out straight away, numerically. Quick summary. Personal brand, that's what you have to use. Know who you're talking to very well. Identify your customer. Have a very clear offer, which is your interest aligned to your work, which you're offering, and stay consistent. Without number 4 and number 1, lame duck. Golden rule. When you go out doing this on social, give from your expertise, give your insight, give habits or behaviors or tips that people can quickly pick up and do. Small little, just sit up and down 5 times on a chair, that kind of stuff. I'm using off the top of the head. Last, please have patience. As a business owner, you've got to believe in yourself and invest patience and give value in every interaction for that social to connect. Why? This is why. Your business is not your expertise, but it's you. And the you in your business is the you in your brand. That's what humanizes business. That's what brings the human face. That's what people connect. People buy from people, nothing else. Thank you. Ready for questions? I'm stopping the slide share. All yours.
Okay, well, I'll just say this to the group. We're pretty much at time for our time today, Joy. So if folks need to drop off at the top of the hour, that is perfectly okay. Joy, I hope you can stay on, because
I'm on.
I suspect with that volume of content, people are now just like, okay, I need to process this, but I have some questions relating to me and my situation. So that's what I would love, folks. If you got specific questions about your own situation that you think Joy can apply this to help guide you in some way, fire away. Or anything else that he spoke to, fire away.
Yeah, I'm also going to leave an offer here, because as you said, there's a lot to digest. So, and I'll leave it for everybody. If you'll need to have a discussion, 30 minutes or so, please drop Irene a line, and my details are with Irene. I'll be happy to send through my calendar so that at a mutually comfortable time, happy to sit down with you and give you all the help. Standing, nothing. I'll only charge you a cup of coffee later when we can get to meet. All yours. Shoot.
Just come in, folks.
I think Barbara's putting down on the chat, Barbara Lee. Let me just get that.
I had different views on having a niche. Is that important? I've heard different views on having a niche. She's referring to coaching niches here. There's different wisdom in the marketplace on niching yourself as a coach, like saying, this is the work I do very specifically. What are your perhaps thoughts on that? Not all coaches have niches identified, or they're broad.
Yeah. So Barbara, thank you first. I really appreciate the appreciation, but this is where my perspective is from a marketing perspective. I'm looking at it from how would I market your services. Having a niche is very important. Let me explain. I'm a marketing consultant. I've worked in marketing for 30 over years, but what does the word marketing communicate to a CEO or a business owner? Everybody thinks sales and marketing is the same thing. And under marketing, we've got tons of disciplines. But when I put it out to say I do strategic marketing, I don't do the social media part, I do the strategy that gets translated into social media as a vehicle. People say, I see. So you're going to plan everything. So from a marketing perspective, if you can pick up one aspect that is your interest area, falls into your passion, that you really like it, maybe you don't make much money out of that, but if that connects, use that for your communication, bring your prospect on board, and then upsell the prospect, to use jargon. Go from X to X plus Y, Y plus Z, and move it through. That would be my 2 cents worth.
Thank you, Joy. So what you're saying is, in a sense, niche is not that important, right?
What I'm saying is just the reverse. Niche is important from the communication perspective. It makes you stand out. But in practice, right, once you got your client in, you are giving the client your niche plus something else. If your niche is not really your niche, ideally it should be yours. So for example, I only do strategy. I turn down work when it comes to social media execution or the technology part of social media. I have my associates who take that part of the work. I work on telling the client, if you follow this strategy, in 16 weeks, you're going to get this result. And I work with the client for those 16 weeks, purely. Because then I'm driving that strategy, I'm implementing it. That's what I mean by the niche. So let's say there are leadership coaches of various genres, right? Take a particular area of leadership, if that's the area you're coaching, and talk about it, because that aligns with you. You live that and you breathe that. And then when they come in, you do that, but you're also doing something else in the leadership niche, which you're offering already. It's available with you. So it could be leadership for women entrepreneurs, not males, or it could be leadership in startup. That's the kind of separation. That's the kind of niche. I'm not talking about a niche from industry practice. I'm talking about niche from a communication perspective.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just have a question. I'm sure, because this is not an issue that I face necessarily, but I work with a lot of coaches who have very small networks on social media. They have a Facebook page that is just a personal page, friends and family mostly collected over the few years, it's 300 people. They have a website they've set up to market their coaching business. They've got maybe LinkedIn, maybe a bit more, maybe 600 people that they've connected with, but there's not like a robust group of people who know them beyond people who already know them, so to speak. So what is the way forward? Because one of the things you mentioned early on was this word find. You define people.
Yeah.
So there's this question, okay, so I'm on social media and I'm posting away, but it doesn't necessarily go beyond this finite group that I have already attracted to me and who may already have some degree of knowledge. So I'm not growing this. So this idea of finding, right? That's a whole different way than just posting and attracting, is this idea of finding. So can you speak a little bit more to
Sure. Okay. So what happens is, you rightly said, look at the background where we come in to be a consultant or we come in to be a coach. Why I find coaching consulting very similar in many respects is because we've got deep technical expertise in our respective areas. So wherever we work, in corporate or wherever, at some point we've decided to go into business. But we haven't changed one hat. We are still approaching the business from a technical perspective, which is why you have one personal page and one simple thing and we are posting once a week or something. Now what I've given you is start communicating to that same network, in that same media, 4 times a week, telling about what you like, your interest, your work, and yourself. And you'll actually find over that 90-day, 100-day period, other people coming in and liking your post and connecting. That's where you start finding the group. When you get that group, you have conversation, comments, engagement. That's where you pick up.
How do those people come in beyond the people that you're already speaking?
Your post is being, say, again, take LinkedIn, for example. When you post something, it's not just your network of 500 people that's seeing it. It's going, the moment 500 people see it, they've got 500 people each. So you become 500 times 500. And every time somebody puts a reaction or a like or a comment, right? Other people have the opportunity. So geometrically, your numbers increase. Then your content talks to bring them in and make a connection. Then this is where I said you need 90 minutes, because when somebody comments on your post, 24 hours later, you've got to go back in, give a response back to it. That's where the conversation happens. And then it drops into your inbox, and from your inbox to your email, and then into a Zoom call, literally, if you want to take it that way. But that's how you find people. You have to grow your personal brand to find the right people, then see from there, you have those conversations on the email, on the Zoom, and lead to a customer.
So just to clarify, it's not actually a method of me going out to find, so to speak.
No.
It is a method of I am attracting certain people to what I'm creating, and through sharing and other means of that message getting beyond my finite group of people, others will be attracted and coming in. So this is what you mean by find versus kind of a proactive
social
out there finding, like joining that to purposely target and find the people that would be my ideal.
So social is, you've got networking on one side where you can join networking sites and interact and talk to other groups and get referrals. That's separate. Social is on social media. Your content attracts people to communicate with you, to say, Leon, I love this thought that you put out. I love this article. Okay. When they say that, you respond to say, loved it. Great. What was the one thing you took away? You are giving a question that makes them respond back. And some people will come back. Now, this conversation does not always happen in 24 hours. You post something on a Sunday, you might get communication on Friday. But what I'm saying is, over the span of 3.5 months, as you're doing it consistently, people will start seeing and start talking with you, commenting, and you've got to engage with that comment. That's where you find your crowd. What I mean by crowd is that's where you find your customers. Not all will come, but all you need is what? 5 people, 10 people, 20 people? Put a number. That's how you start.
Great, thank you. Clear.
That's the pull factor I'm talking about. Social does not work.
That's what we're hearing. It's about pulling.
It's pulling.
Yeah. So I was going to say, Karun asked a question here. He said, do you think that there are certain do-nots, also part of your passion, affects the consistency of your business direction? Sorry, Karun, I don't know what that means. Could you unmute and just verbally ask that question?
Do not do.
But I'm not sure about the other part. Do also a part of your passion affects the consistency of business direction? Karun, are you able to come in and clarify?
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, Karun, can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember I met Leon in the APEC at Bombay, and I was dancing when suddenly a program was announced that I won that a prize which I got by right. So what I mean to say, I am a management system expert. So my designation or my niche I have taken out to be life and management system coach. So I use systems related to ISO in building the life. And I also have a passion for dancing.
Brilliant.
On Bollywood songs. So many times it happens when you try to see two things in one way. I am a dancer also, and I am a management system expert who works on a compliance kind of markets. Yes or no, your company or complying. So there is some kind of inconsistency which comes, which sometimes does not help you to let me move in one direction. So am I clear, Leon?
Yeah, I think like what you're saying, when your passions and interests may conflict with the kind of core messaging of your work, per se.
Some of them.
It's appropriate to bring dancing and my passion for that into talking about what I do here in this work direction. Something of that nature.
Right.
Karun, I have to say this, I love you. And guys will murder me because I got one old dude telling another dude or whatever that love you is this thing. But I'll tell you something. You are an ideal customer for social selling. Please start communicating about your passion about Bollywood dancing. That's who you are. That's Karun Sharma, the individual. Your technical skill is management systems, and you're using that technical knowledge to help people structure their lives. That's
right.
Your coaching business. I don't find a clash or inconsistency. It's only in your head that you're finding inconsistency. What do you mean? A good dancer can't be a very good management systems person or a programmer? There's no rule saying no. There's absolutely no rule. If you communicate, so in your personal post, you write about your Bollywood dancing, use your videos, do whatever you do, you're communicating who you are. You have a zest for life through that Bollywood dancing. That's who you are. And then you're saying, I make your life better because I'm a management systems expert who uses that structure to create life coaching. People are going to say, wow, this is good. I mean, he's going to have a sense of humor because he does Bollywood dancing. Come on. I mean, he's a dancer. He has to have a good sense of humor. I'm just replaying my immediate feedback of you. And you're structured. So let me talk to Karun. Look, social selling is not going to land a paid customer without you talking and engaging with that customer. It's going to entice the customer, pull the customer, attract the customer towards you. You've got dancing, use it. You've got systems, use it. You've got structure to do life coaching, use it. You've got 3 legs already for your content. Now, just go out and talk about it and own it. Because what I'm decoding is you're a little shy or reticent to say, this is clashing. Actually, my passion is dancing, but my interest and my everything is in systems and coaching. No, it's not. It's the same thing. It's right hand and left hand of the same body. Be proud, own it, communicate. Do it if you have the time. Do it for 90 days. See the results that come.
Thank you so much. And maybe that I'll try to take a time for that 30-minute slot from
Karun, you can reach me on LinkedIn. Anybody on this group, feel free. Reach me on LinkedIn. Drop me a DM. I'd be more than happy to set up 30 minutes. And I do anyways do India time work. So absolutely not a problem. Happy to do it. And for whatever it's worth, please visit when you have 5 minutes, my LinkedIn profile. There's a small little clip up there called Becoming You. That story, I think, will give each of you a lot more strength. Today, what I'm doing, I had to find that strength within to be able to do it. And I'm telling you, it works. I wouldn't be sharing this. I have butterflies in my stomach when I started the talk to tell each one of you such erudite coaches, and you're helping people in their lives. I'm not a coach, as I said. This social selling, I know marketing works. I know the social side of marketing like the back of my hand. All I'm asking you is a dedicated 3.5-month period, 90 minutes a day, 6 days of the week to 7 days of the week if you can make it out. See it for yourself.
Just to be
Thank
clear,
you.
what's happening in those 90 days is, so in 90 minutes, it's not that you've done a lot of the content creation work up front. So there's some time each day where it needs to be posted up. So are you then suggesting that a lot of that time is just in the engagement part each
Correct.
day, just willing to sit there and go through comments and comment on other people's materials,
Oh, yes.
relate them to what you're doing, just that kind of cross-pollinization of ideas, that whole piece, right? More than just the post is the...
More than just the post.
Yeah.
The first 3 weeks will go in structuring out what you want to write, when you're going to write, how you're going to do. You're going to get into a routine. After that first 3 weeks, you are actually going to be consciously spending a strong, I would say about 60 minutes out of that 90 minutes. If you were to be really watching the clock, you'll spend 60 minutes on just commenting on that one primary channel, on your post and other people's posts on the same entry, because other people would come in. You'll see people looking at your profiles. Who are they coming in? You'll get to know them. You can reach out to them. You can connect with them. So this is the work part of it. You have to work the social by reaching out, putting out your content, connecting with somebody, saying, thank you, I liked it. What is it that you like of this? Getting into those conversations with the objective that, can I bring you? Right at day one, like the first date, if you say, hey, can we have a conversation? The person's going to run off. If you send a PDF and say, I do this, I'm a systems-based life coach and I'll structure your life, they'll run off. But if you say, your interest is dancing, my interest is in this Bollywood, and by the way, I did this dance when I was at the APAC seminar and I won this prize, but I was doing this dance, and the clip is of 1 minute video from somebody who's got taken it or not. You just put it up, lightheartedness. Be human. That's the 90-day hard work. And once you've done that, it doesn't stop there. I'm giving it to you for you to see when results will come. But once you cross that 4-month, 16-week period, you continue it like a habit. It's like going running, going walking. You got to be at it. Otherwise, your pipeline, what do you do for that 90 days to 4 months period? It will just disappear in less than 1 month if you stop. You can't expect to do once and have sustainability for the next 12 months. No, it doesn't work that way.
And I guess the big challenge I'm seeing is that, it's your personal brand. You mentioned hiring a outside agency to do it, or an outside person to do it, which I suspect is attractive to a lot of folks. But there's that personal brand piece that's missing. It's not you doing that intimate engagement anymore. It's someone else on your behalf.
Let me clarify this. There are lots of social media agencies. Leon, where you are, there's tons of them. There's in Philippines, in India. So you can hive off all the graphic development and the posting and everything to these people. You can also go to the extent of them having ready-made messages responding to inbox messages that come in to free your time up. However, at the start, it's good to invest the money in having a graphic developer who does your graphic, does your video, and does everything, and even a writer. But you have to give the story. You have to give the core message. The writer has to sit with, it's just like coaching. I have to sit with you and listen to you and learn from you what's bugging you, who you are, how do you do, before I can unpack you. So the writer also has to sit and learn, how do you write? How do you talk? The good writers will do this. They will actually spend a couple of hours with you in a weekly basis, write 2-3 times and share it with you, and then get very close, about 90-95% to your style, and do it. I've never used an outside writer for whatever work I've done in the last 2 years. The only reason is it's me. I can write because I write from my heart. I write, it's a whole journaling habit. So if you're comfortable writing, write. If you're comfortable dictating, dictate. And there's lots of apps available. You could use dictation apps to even get word text. So you save your time from physical typing on the keyboard, right? But only give out that part of the work that is laborious. And the laborious part is the image, the video, the posting. So there are some which is automated. If you're using LinkedIn, I would ask you not to use any automation because your account will be banned immediately. But on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, wherever you want to go, you can automate. You can use something called bufferapp.com, BUFFERAPP, and you can automate all the way up the whole week. The very nominal monthly charges.
Hootsuite was another one, I think.
Hootsuite is for first timers, Hootsuite takes a little bit of time to get going. Hootsuite is very good. But take a social media developer, a graphic person's help. Because, for example, when I started doing it, I had no idea, in spite of being in marketing for 30 years, how to do a video edit. I couldn't pay. I learned it the hard way. I self-taught myself. I went on the apps. I recorded videos. Now, when I look back at my 2-year-old videos, I feel like crying. But hey, you got to start somewhere, right? I'm proud of them. The results are there. Do that. Use it to take the process part out. You should spend quality time. That 90 minutes should be right at the beginning. It should be strategizing what do you want to do, how you want to do, under the KILL framework. What am I going to write when? Done. One day is 90 minutes. Next day is 90 minutes. I start. I write for today, tomorrow, day after, whatever. Write it out. Just dump it. Start with, whatever comes onto a Word document. Then when you've arranged it, index it by day, date, whichever way you're comfortable, post. Even if you don't have pictures, I'll go to that far to say, just do text post. Do your own quote. Don't quote Jim Rohn or, John Maxwell or, Thomas Alva Edison. Write Peter Leon. Each one of you have fantastic sentences. Right now, if we had time, I would have asked you, giving you 10 minutes and said, give me 10 sentences, quotes from each of you, each one within 4 to 5 words. Please try this exercise by yourself whenever you have a 10-15 minute window. Write 10 sentences, each sentence of 4 to 6 words, as sound quotes, as sentences you would use to communicate a key message from your perspective. And when you have those 10, post it out. You'll have your Sunday quote post.
Yeah, I just wanted to say before I disappear from here, that you made me joyful.
Thank you, sir. That's the best reward you can give me. A pleasure. Please do connect on LinkedIn. I'd be more than happy to take the discussion further and help you cover.
I'll do that. Thank you.
Yeah, this may be a good time to wrap up. Anything else that's pressing for anyone? All good? Perfect.
Thank you, Joy.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.